Hi, everybody. This is Elisa McCall with Polar Bears International, and today I'm just doing a quick tutorial on how to use our bear tracker. So to find the PBI bear tracker, go to polarbearsinternational.org, and there's a link to it right on our front page. That's the easiest way to get to it, and you will get to a page that looks like this. So a few basics to point out, of course, this is Hudson Bay. And these are all the collared female bears that we are tracking currently. There are some other collared bears in Hudson Bay that are not represented here, but we do also get some information from different scientists about what those bears are up to that we can also point out sometimes in blogs and things like that. But for right now, we are tracking some females from the western Hudson Bay polar bear population over here and the southern Hudson Bay polar bear population over here. Now, these bears share Hudson Bay. They do overlap quite a bit with each other, some bears more than others. And you can kind of see where some overlap happens, which is a really neat part of this tool. So a few things to point out if you are wanting to click around a little bit and see what the bears are doing. So this can look a little bit overwhelming. There are just a ton of squiggly overlapping lines, but we can make that look a lot nicer pretty easily. So you can click on any particular bear. So let's try this purple bear. And down here, it says show only this bear and show all bears. So we want to hit show only this bear, and then we get a way better idea of what this bear is up to. And we can look at her path up throughout the year and what she's been up to. And then if we look at her details, we get some more information. So she is sponsored by Vienna Zoo. And her X number is X17339. And this is the number that scientists assign to her to track her throughout her life, not necessarily with a collar, but when her collar drops off, if we were to see her again in maybe 5 years from now, we could easily look up her history and all her details and get an idea of how her weight has changed, if she's had cubs come to survival, just kind of get a really good life history of polar bears. And it's a pretty neat thing to be able to do that. So her X number, which will stick with her forever. We know when she was collared. She had 1 cub when she was collared. Some bears have weights available and some don't. And then we have the distance that she has traveled since she's been collared. So she has traveled over 2,000 kilometers, which is over 1,300 miles. And then we have her travel history. And so for this, we move the slider at the top. So this is currently, and if we move the slider all the way back to when she was collared, which says in about September of 2014. So I went a little too far. Let's go early October. There she is. Okay. So in early October, she was just outside of this green area called Wapusk National Park. And then watch this travel history kilometer counter as I slowly move the slider forward. So we can see that as of December, she had moved almost 200 kilometers or 120 miles. By January, she's moved well over 1,000 kilometers. In the spring, she's doing a lot of quick back and forth, which probably means there was really good hunting grounds there, and she's racked up another few hundred kilometers easily. And then we come to June, and again, just over 2,000 kilometers. So that's a pretty neat way to track what the bears are doing. If we want to go do that with another bear, we can see how different they all are. So this bear here, this bear is sponsored by Hanover Adventure. Collared in, again, September of 2014. Some of these bears have been collared in 2013, which means their collar is dropping off soon. Okay, and we can see that she also has quite the travel history, and she's racked up well over 4,000 kilometers so far this year, which is pretty neat. So you can go back through any bear you're interested in and click through a bit more slowly if you want to, or even a bit quicker to get that kind of fast-looking movement, which is pretty funny. And every bear is doing its own thing. We never have 2 bears that do the same thing. And it's really neat to compare what each bear does, really. And it's going to be extra interesting in the next month or so when the bears start coming ashore, because they all have different migration patterns for where they come ashore and when. One of the things that dictates when they come ashore is, of course, the sea ice cover. Now, sea ice is critical for polar bears. That's their main habitat. They use the sea ice to hunt seals and get the vast majority of their nutrition, to find each other, to mate, all that good stuff. So on this map, the sea ice is represented. The darker areas here is good sea ice cover, and the lighter area is open water or very little sea ice cover. So we can see that there is a good area of open water right here that's quite substantial for right now, and a lot of the bears are on that edge. So they will stay on the sea ice as long as they can, and we will keep updating this ice cover so you can see the patterns of ice breakup in Hudson Bay that are about to happen. But let's point out a few other aspects of this bear tracker map. One cool thing, don't forget to take a look at this left-hand stuff, especially if you're a teacher or maybe a really interested student. We have some cool links to different things. We have some educational materials down here. So a unit plan, lesson plan, PowerPoint. We have some questions that scientists have answered about using satellite collars, because we know that people do have a lot of questions about why we use them. And then we have different blogs about collar related things. So we've got all sorts of good stuff. You can play around with these links up here. This link, Polar Bears International icon, will take you back to our website. And yeah, please, check in weekly or so if you're interested. This will wind down over the summer a little bit, but we'll start up with these bears and some new bears again in the fall. Collar data gives us insight into a polar bear's life that we would never be able to get otherwise. If we didn't have these collars on these bears right now, we really would have no idea what they're doing or where they're going. And scientists use this data to find out what type of habitats polar bears prefer, to find out information about their home range sizes, what bears with different age cubs do. And it really is all in the greater interest of better understanding polar bears, making sure that we can conserve them, and just making sure that we have them well into the future. We don't want them to go anywhere. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about the polar bear tracker, collaring bears, anything like that, please email us at questions@pbears.org, or you can find us on our website in the Contact Us link, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. So thanks again, everybody, and happy bear tracking.